Welcome to Quiet Connection, a podcast dedicated to ending the stigma around postpartum mental health. I'm Chelsea. Today, I'm joined by Lisa, a mom of 3 with a powerful story that touches on the beauty and unpredictability of motherhood. From an unexpected pregnancy and a life-threatening case of preeclampsia to navigating NICU life and postpartum rage, Lisa opens up about the importance of maternal advocacy, trusting your instincts, and speaking your truth even when it's hard. Whether you're a new mom, a seasoned parent, or supporting someone on their journey, this conversation is a heartfelt reminder that you are not alone. Here's Lisa. Hello! Today I'm here with Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, sorry, jumped again on that high. How
That's
are
okay.
you?
I'm great. I'm so glad that we're finally connecting. Lisa is an Instagram connection. I've said it so many times, I feel like, in the last couple of months, but some of the greatest connections that I've made through QC has been through like Instagram and Threads.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you're one of those people. Like, I call you guys like my pocket friends. Like,
Oh,
you're
thank
like real people who,
you.
if I message you, you're gonna message back. Like, I just think that it's awesome. So I'm excited to have you
Very
on.
exciting. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
I'll start like I start all my shows. I would love it if you could introduce yourself to me and the listeners and tell me a little bit about who you were before you were a mom.
Good way to start it off. So I'm Lisa. I'm a mom of 3. My 2 youngest are girls, and we have our oldest who's in college, my bonus baby. Depending on who you ask, I didn't have any of them because my 2 youngest are C-section kids. So,
Oh, geez. I think right
um,
now, as we're recording, I think it's C-section awareness month too, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just sneak
Yes.
that in there as well. But yeah, I like to just kind of joke about that with everybody. The easy way out. We're like, sure, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got our 3 that we're so lucky to be raising, and they're just amazing. It's just yeah, fun times. Who I was before I was a mom. Man, let's see. Definite live music lover. Definitely miss that for sure. Going to shows and stuff. Don't get to do that very often, but that was definitely a big part of my life. Working with kids was always a part of that too. I did a lot of preschool and daycare, teaching, and which is actually how I met my bonus, and now we're all a nice little happy family all these years later, and yeah, it's great.
I love it. I love it. I also worked in childcare and early childhood education, so connection there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy how like it can prepare you, but doesn't really prepare you. I was like,
No.
I could handle like 18 kids in a classroom on my own, no problem. And like I'm at home with my 2 sometimes, and I'm like, I'm sweating. When is the day gonna end? Like
Yes.
that time's still 15 hours away. Like this is crazy.
Yes. Yes. I remember because it was a long time ago. I did childcare and whatnot, but before I had my first, I was like, oh, this is like I change like 50 diapers a day and I feed 4 babies at a time and I'm like, this is gonna be fine. And then you have
Yeah.
your own and you're like, this is nothing
Yeah.
like that.
Nobody talked about this.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I feel you 100%. So let's get right into it, I guess. Like, let's talk about your journey into parenthood. Did you always picture yourself being a parent?
I did. I feel like that has always just been like something I've always wanted to do. Since I was little, like I would have, my younger brother and like cousins, like, okay, I'm gonna be the teacher and like, teaching them stuff, kind of probably annoyingly making them sit down and be my class, kind of thing. So I feel like I have always been that kind of nurturing, like maternal, kind of person. And so just, was like, we'll see how bad it is with one. And then we go from there. But definitely was like, yeah, I always wanted to be able to have kids. And I'm so thankful now that I can say that that I have three after, especially birth trauma and postpartum and everything. That comes with it. Just the desire really isn't, enough or all of it that it encompasses anymore, like I thought when I was, playing house when I was a little one.
Yeah, nobody tells us when we're 5 years old about postpartum depression
Yeah.
and postpartum and any
I
of that
know.
stuff and birth
Yeah.
trauma. We're not playing with our dolls like, Mommy is
Just so
really
you
sad
know.
today.
Yeah. She just needs a seat and still
Yeah.
loves you.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so how did you meet your partner? Talk to me about that whole experience.
So with our oldest, that's actually his son from a previous relationship. He was about 4 or so when one of co-teacher kind of, how they bring them into the class at the end of the day for, the final like little classroom when everybody's numbers are kind of down. So he would come in with a little boy and just, started chatting with dad at like drop off and yeah, like rest is history kind of thing. So yeah, it's like I like that little connection that, we have. Like I didn't birth him, but he's intertwined in part of our story as to why we met and now have, our our two girls in addition. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is very, very sweet. It's like I don't know if this is actually the term because I'm an elder millennial and so I mess these up all the time, but does that qualify as a meet cute? Is that what that is? Like a
I don't even know. I'm like, I feel like I got lucky looking younger in the face, but like up here, I'm like, I don't know, especially after
I
having
don't know.
kids, like mom brain took over. Like I am not cool or young
I am not
anymore.
cool at all.
My six
No.
year old comes home saying things that I'm like, is that still English? Like,
Yeah,
what are you
my
talking about
my
now?
9-year-old's doing the same thing. I'm like, "Do you like what are you actually saying?" But
Yeah.
if that's what a meet cute is, listeners, I don't know. It's a cute way to meet.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Y'all let us
Um
know.
yes, please in the comments let me know if I got
Yeah.
that right. Um so yeah, so you meet your partner, you have this awesome bonus child that has already been a part of your life. Um, and then you guys, I'm assuming, make the decision to start trying to have a family of your own.
Yeah, I don't know how much of like decision it was too, because she was kind of a surprise. For the time that we had her, we had no idea. We were open to. He was open to, if I was wanting to have any other children. He's like, I'm not saying no to that. I'm fine with mine, and didn't think I'd have any other kids. But he was always open to it. So we were, just kind of going along with life and then
Yeah.
end up realizing I was pregnant when I went to the ER thinking she was severe dehydration.
Oh
And then she
my
had
gosh.
to be we'd been out in like, Texas heat for like the entire weekend doing hikes, being in the water. And so I was thinking, I was like, I just didn't drink enough and it was too much sun and just crazy Texas summer heat, if you know, you know. So I'm in the ER and the doctor comes back in and she's like, yeah, so, you're pregnant. Just like, no, I'm sorry. You have the wrong room. I'm here for dehydration. Like, you can just go ahead. And she's like, no, I'm in the right place. And we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, whoa, okay. Where are we on the dehydration? Like, I
Yeah.
know you're dropping a bomb on me, but I gotta let that process. So that was pretty incredible, like leaving the hospital. after thinking, this is a minor thing, and leave the hospital with like life-changing news, which was just surprising, but also like really incredible. We were so lucky. I felt incredibly lucky to be able to, say like, oh, I'm pregnant and I hope, I can make it to being able to hold this baby and everything. And, just excited. My family, all our families are just amazing and we're super thrilled. And she was actually the first girl on his side of the family in like 60 years. So
Wow.
everyone was like, holy moly, I can't believe it. Like, I myself thought I was going to raise a house of dirty, stinky boys. And so now having two girls, I'm like, who's playing the jokes? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? But it's been crazy and awesome and such an adventure to, tie all of our families together and stuff in that way. So it's been really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm usually so intentional too with how I ask that question. I don't usually like, and so you decided to have kids because everybody starts this journey differently, but like, yeah,
Right.
what a shock,
Yeah,
to say the least.
definitely.
How did that sort of impact your pregnancy experience, or did it at all? Like, were you able to lean into it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with, everyone's blessings and support, like in our families, it was just amazing. We actually spent a weekend going from like different cities that our families lived in to let them know in person. And my one of my cousins was graduating that weekend, and so I pulled him aside and I was like, "Hey, I know this is your thing. I'm not trying to steal your light or anything, but we have some news and we'd love to like let everybody hear it because they're all here with your blessing if you're okay with that." So I let him know that I was pregnant, and he was just so excited. I still remember his face. It was the sweetest thing. And now thinking like, wow, he was the first one on like my family that we told. That's really sweet. um it was so nice, and he was like, no, like you can't come back, you gotta tell everybody right now. He's like, come on, let's go. And so we were just so lucky to get to tell everybody, and we were in a restaurant and my mom screamed so loud. She was so excited to finally be a grandma and hugged me so incredibly tight, and just all the hugs kept coming and it was really sweet. And then we were just on to, the next city to tell like his parents and the rest of his family. And it was really awesome. Like now thinking back, I'm like, that's such a nice memory to have. Like 12 weeks pregnant in a car for the
Yeah.
weekend isn't ideal, but that was definitely trumped by, all the amazing hugs and love that we were able to receive that weekend. It was so, so special. And I'm so glad we were able to have that experience.
Yeah, it sounds like even though your families aren't necessarily super close in proximity, it sounds like you guys have a really good network, like support network.
We absolutely do. We are so, so lucky. And it really was something that was kind of shoved in our faces, how supported we are by like, our village of family and friends. Because I always say that like my first pregnancy was like pretty much perfect and great until it wasn't.
Mhm.
And that's when the severe preeclampsia came in to play, and I ended up thinking I was going to be going to Thanksgiving, dinner the next day, and instead was admitted into the hospital. So my blood pressure readings were just too high, and had to end up having my daughter early, so she was 4 weeks early, which was like what I call it a snowball of events that happened. Like I just went into a routine prenatal exam, and then 10 days later, after hospitalization and some NICU time, came home with a baby. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is how
Yeah.
we're rolling into motherhood. All right.
Okay. It kind of echoes how you started the journey too, like with unexpected like it was like
Yeah.
I guess she was just doing things on her own terms.
Yeah.
But so were you asymptomatic up to that point? Like
I definitely was, which for me and sharing my story, I feel very strongly needing to do that because of the fact that I felt absolutely fine. And thinking about it now, after the fact, knowing how bad I was and my body was and how badly my baby started doing, it's just so shocking that I remember, the assistants taking my blood pressure like repeatedly and it just being way too high and like cracking jokes like at the time,
yeah.
like because I didn't feel anything but my insides and like my body and like my organs and stuff, like things were just not doing well. And it's, I just think like it's so important because had I not made it to that appointment, which I did think for a tiny bit because I was very tired that morning and I was a little late to the appointment. I thought about rescheduling it and it kind of stops me in my tracks every time I think about that because we could very well not be here today had I done that. I could have had a seizure driving the short distance to Thanksgiving dinner or, had a stroke while I was having turkey with my family. And I just like, I can't imagine how badly things could have turned out had I not gone to, required appointments and was sure to get the proper prenatal care that, my baby and I deserve because that could have ended so tragically. And from the 6 years now that, I've, been learning more about preeclampsia and just what happened to us every day, I feel like I'm reminded of how easily we could have lost everything because I hear of other women or babies who have lost, their lives. And it's shocking and so incredibly sad every single time. And so I'm just like, if saying my little piece and, cracking little jokes to spread awareness can, help someone not have any of those things happen, I'm happy to do so. Like I feel like I'm a fairly private person, but with this, I'm like, I will spill my guts if it will save or help anybody because I can't imagine, especially knowing my daughters are now predisposed to having this condition should they decide to have babies. I would never want them going into that environment not knowing what's going on with, their body, their life, their baby's life, because it's just maybe in a way that kind of saved me from not like having so much fear in that moment because I really didn't know, but it's also a different kind of fear because you're just like, I'm hearing all these words, I have no idea what they are, and doctors coming in and saying, okay, well, we're probably going to have to do bed rest for the remainder of your pregnancy, which was 4 weeks. And then it
Yeah.
was, well, maybe we can try to make it to term. And then it's either going to be that we try to make it to term or we do this today. And it was just minute after minute. It was like increasingly, no, we got to do this now. And then all of a sudden it was my lame little turkey sandwich from the hospital being taken out of my hands. And they're like, we're going to get you all doped up right now so we can get this baby out. And I'm like, but I didn't get turkey. Can I just have a sandwich? I'm
It's
gonna be doing the most in a
Thanksgiving.
minute. Give me my sandwich. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, just an incredible snowball of events. So yeah, man, she did keep tone with the whole like, hey, surprise, I'm in your belly, and now everything
Hey,
sense.
surprise, now I'm coming out.
Yeah.
Um you talked about some really important things too, which I love your advocacy for preeclampsia awareness. But prior to this, had you known anything about preeclampsia?
Not much at all. I distinctly remember my partner asking or them coming in to say something to us about my blood pressure readings and having the what to expect when you're expecting book in my bag. And I said, I think they might tell me, I think they might end up telling me something about having preeclampsia. And he was like, well, what's that? And I was like, don't really get to that chapter. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
was like, it deals with the high blood pressure and it being like, a little too elevated. And remember referencing, like having him like reference the book that was in my bag. And that's pretty much all I remember from that experience of relating it to preeclampsia, because it was always just, okay, well, we're gonna check this. And then it was that that didn't work. We gotta roll with it and do this thing. And it was just kind of, we have some time. We might not have that much time. We definitely don't have any time. We gotta go now, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I know sometimes having information can be scary for people, because then they just assume, oh, those bad things are gonna happen to me. But for me, it's like it's hard to tell the story without, instilling fear. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I just want you to be aware of other things, because just saying that one little sentence, like, oh, well, I think they're gonna probably tell me this and it has to do with this, and then that being the whole like issue of ours, and what, snowballed everything is kind of crazy. And I would never want anyone else to go through that. Mother, baby, like I can't imagine how he felt like watching us go through that, not knowing anything, not, and I mean, he was there enough. Like, I was on all kinds of medication, so I'm just, a little bit loopy trying to get a baby out. But he's like, aware of everything and not aware of everything at the same time. And I can't imagine like what that would be like, just like, somebody give me information in words that I can understand, because what I'm seeing just looks so bad. um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just something that I feel like, even if you just hear the word, so that you Google it on your own or something, just to have that knowledge, I feel like is really important. Because it just, I feel like it made so much of the difference in my first and second pregnancies, because of having, that extra bit of knowledge, which could have been a lot more helpful with the first one, just because a lot of those symptoms do mimic regular pregnancy symptoms: headaches,
Yeah.
swelling, fatigue, like, who's not fatigued when they're pregnant? Who's not swelling when they're pregnant? Like, and especially for myself, like, that was my first pregnancy. As much as I weighed and gained during that pregnancy, was the most I'd ever, like, in my life up until that point, weighed. So I was like, obviously, I'm gonna be, my legs are gonna be a little swollen, sometimes, like, towards the end. And because I've never really weighed this much, and I'm like carrying a baby, and it's just like, it's different, it's a different physical thing. But I also remember once, looking back at pictures, I took a photo. I was sitting in Target, and I took a photo of my legs, because I was like, oh yeah, they are getting a little swollen. And I thought back to it when I looked at the picture again once, and I was like, it's incredibly crazy to me that I took that picture sitting in like the pharmacy section in the blood pressure, like, cuff
Oh,
thing. Didn't check my blood pressure then. I wasn't, aware of, hey, maybe I should just flip around and like take a
yeah.
peek at what the numbers are. And yeah, it's just, and I know now, little by little, it was, creeping up on me, but just wasn't aware. And the fact that, like, with it slowly doing that and me being asymptomatic and then having still 4 more weeks to go, I'm just like, feel so incredibly lucky and thankful that we were both able to eventually walk out of the hospital together, because my heart just breaks every single time I hear about another mom or a baby or, a partner losing their partner, when having, one of the greatest moments of their lives. I can't imagine not having left the hospital with either of them. It's so
Yeah.
tragic that it happens way too often.
Well, and you bring up so many good points too. Like, it's preeclampsia is pretty common. Like, we won't say, like, it's not like, well, if you get pregnant, you should expect to get
Right,
preeclampsia, right? But it is not uncommon. So it's
right.
something that I feel like should be in our vocabulary when we're talking
Right.
about pregnancy and postpartum. And of course, I just had mom brain, and what I was gonna say, I just lost it. It's gonna come back.
Do that
Um,
all the time.
oh, and there is this mentality around, like, well, we don't want to scare new moms and dads. We don't want to scare new parents. And I
Right.
I am of the mindset that it's much better to be prepared so that you don't
Mhm.
have to feel scared. So,
100%. Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's me too. Just give me all the information so that I can, I guess, trickle down on what I need to freak out about, kind of thing. Like, I don't want to freak
Yeah.
out about everything. Just let me know the little things that I need to be aware of, and, then be like, oh, okay, yeah, that blood pressure reading's kind of high. Let's think about that and talk about that one for a little bit. Maybe give, the OB a call or something like that. Just check in. I mean, that's what they're there for. So
Yes.
just
Yes.
FYI to any of the mamas who are like, oh, I don't want to be a pain. Be a pain. That's what
Be
they're
a
there for.
pain. Yes. And I know just because from following you on social media and just from the little bit that we've chatted, like advocating for regular prenatal visits and also
Mhm.
postpartum visits are things that are really important to you. And it's it's even more important. Our country right now has what we call maternal health care deserts. We have
Mhm.
huge, like hundreds of miles of areas that don't have OBGYNs or midwives, or so perinatal and postpartum services. So it's even
Mhm.
harder for families to get care, which means it's even more important that you do the work. If you have to travel, you have to travel. That sucks. It's awful. But
It's,
going to those appointments can be life saving.
yeah, it's absolutely worth it.
So, yes, even though it's inconvenient, make sure you're going to your prenatal visits. And this is a whole other podcast, but there should be more postpartum visits as well because, and I'm sure you know about this, there is postpartum preeclampsia and HELP syndrome. But again, another podcast, another day, sticking with your
Yeah.
story. So let's
I'll be back for that one too, don't worry.
yeah. Let's sort of go through the process because like you said, like this was completely unexpected. You went in for a routine appointment and ended up in the hospital and then baby.
Yeah.
Um can you so like you said, things kept changing rapidly. It was
Mhm.
okay, you're going to be on bed rest. Okay, we're going to try to make it to term. Okay, we might make it to term. Okay, no, we're going right now. When
Yeah.
that decision was made, like we're going right now, what was going through your mind?
So a lot, and then like nothing at the same time too, which it seems crazy, but I say this just because like prior to deliveries and like C-sections and all of that, with it being major abdominal surgery, you're gonna be put through some medication and things like that. I would, try my hardest not even to take like Tylenol or Advil or anything like that until it was absolutely necessary. So being pretty doped up during that experience, and especially with the mag drip, which
Yes.
is another thing. If you know, very unfortunately. Um, that experience just made so much of it so cloudy for me. So I feel like I was almost just kind of sitting there, just a little like floaty, like not maybe really grasping everything that was happening, which is why it wasn't until like, 6 months, a year later, reading medical records, I'm like, whoa, like we went through some stuff. Like that's crazy. And not, being able to really tie it to those memories that I have from being in the hospital because it was just like a lot of laying around and stuff like that. But it was, survival actually,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about. But yeah, just trying to survive that whole experience, which is a hard thing to grasp and think about, but also
Yeah.
very necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's obviously like you said, like you're on a whole bunch of medications, mag drips. I have not been through that, but I've talked to so many families, and one of my best friends went through like what you're describing is so crazy, like eerily exactly what she went
Oh,
through.
oh
Um
goodness.
yeah, so I do not personally know the horrors, but I have heard the horrors, and I know that it can really sort of take you out of the experience of bringing your child into the world. Yeah, it makes it all really you're just not you're not you. You're not able to be fully present.
That's
Um
right.
and you had said too that your daughter went to the NICU. Did you have
Mhm.
any time with her, or was she just whisked right away?
No, I thankfully did. She didn't go to the NICU until 4.5 hours after she was born. So I did have some moments with her. I mean, there was, family coming to visit her and everything too. But I don't feel like I really got to meet her and just like spend that real like first moments with her. Like I have a photo of her from the hospital room before she was taken to the NICU. And it's one of like my most favorite pictures, but like sometimes it's hard to look at because I'm like, that's not like the moment for me. Like the moment for me is us with wires that I was worried about getting intertwined, sitting in a very uncomfortable chair in the NICU. Um, with her just being so tiny and having all kinds of bandages and things around her, like that was more of that moment because the times that I did try to hold her when she was, still in the room with us, I had the shakes so bad that I was scared
Mm.
to keep holding her. Like I probably looked crazy to everybody. I wish I could like see how that played out because I felt like it was like this, like an uncontrollable thing. Like I was like, I'm gonna flop this baby out of my arms. Somebody get her. Like, what are y'all just sitting here enjoying this moment for? But it was like crazy how those shakes like really get you. And I was just like too nervous to hold her. Even after, trying to nurse for a little bit, like I asked my mom and I asked my partner to take her. So it wasn't until I finally, in like the middle of the night, I think it was like 3 in the morning, I finally got off the mag drip and was able to get down to the NICU. Well, it was just down the hall, but I might as well have been running a marathon to try to get to her. It felt
Yeah.
so far away. Um, but yeah, so then finally getting to be with her there um was really great. But those first few nights that we were separated was really hard because you're in mother baby wing and I'm just laying there like hearing all these babies cry. I'm like, is
Yeah.
my baby crying right now? Like, who's helping her? Kind of thing. And that's another thing that's like really hard about the NICU is that stays with you for so long, for forever. I mean, I, my daughter's 6 now and in kindergarten, and it's just like I still think about those things. Like I still think about all those nights, like I cried myself to sleep with those other babies and I didn't
Yeah.
know when she was crying or what she needed. And like even just having like her wanting to start riding the bus or, the fact that she's going to school and like I'm entrusting these people to like take care of her because I'm not going to be doing it in that moment. And it's like, it's crazy to think the first people that ever did that, like, weren't our families, like you would imagine. They were complete strangers that I had no choice in deciding on, things like that. So it kind of does like stay with you for a while, and I can completely understand those like separation anxieties that, parents can have because of that. 'Cause it's especially with the NICU, like you don't know. It's just an undetermined amount of time. And I, being on all that medication and everything, I don't even think I really processed until like maybe an hour later, like, okay, so they're not just doing like tests and stuff. They're like taking her
Yeah.
and I don't know when she's coming back. So it was like the next few days that the door opened. I'm just like, is it her
Right. Is
little
it my baby?
please is it my baby? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's hard. It's like, oh no, another blood pressure reading or oh,
Ugh.
some medication. Like, great. Can you can give me all of these things, but my baby too, please. Like that would be awesome. I'll take whatever you give me as long as you give me my baby too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
No,
oh
that's
Nikki.
I'm really glad that you named that, because that is something that, again, a lot of families that have experienced a NICU stay talk about the lasting effects, about how, right, like sending your kid off to school for the first time, or that first daycare drop off, or maybe the first like sleepover at a grandparent's house, like that sticks with you, that you're like, well, the moments that I was supposed to have my baby with me and I didn't know what was going on, and so that's triggering. That can be really triggering.
Yeah.
Um it's important to talk about, and it's important to name it. Um so yeah, that's, again, it's one of those things. We like to use the word common rather than normal. Like, a lot of people, it's normal to feel that way. Well, no, because you experience
Yeah.
trauma. Um
Exactly. Yeah, which is not normal at
which
all.
is
It should not
not
be.
normal. um, but that is a common feeling shared by a lot of NICU families, that difficulty in letting go of control,
Mhm.
and of separating from your
Yeah.
kiddos. Taking us sort of further into your journey,
Mhm.
when um so were you able to go home before your daughter was?
So I I actually would have. I got incredibly lucky. This was all prior to 2020 and COVID. So this was 2018, late 2018 when she was born. So I was actually discharged and they let me room in still. So I
Oh,
just didn't have
wow.
any care. But once she was going to be brought out from the NICU, I would be able to still be in a room and be with her until she was released. Like I can't even imagine. I had my partner ask me about, they're taking great care of her there. Like we should, maybe just get you out of the hospital for a little bit, some fresh air, like just so feel a little bit better, just, sunshine. Like I'd been in hospital walls for like a week at that point, and he could probably tell like this is getting really hard for you. Like we should
Yeah.
probably do something else right now, and just having to force myself to like kind of accept his offer of doing that, even though in my head I was like, no, I'm not leaving these walls. Like, I don't even think I can make it out that door without automatically going to the NICU, let alone like literally leave. Like, I thought to myself, like, if they tell me I have to go, like, I am camping out in the car in the parking lot once
Yeah.
they finally get me out of the hospital. How moms, parents, anybody does it, leaving and then having to come back. And especially like, we're talking about some, parents don't even have that access. Like I thankfully it was like 12 minutes from my place, my doctor, and my hospital. Like I could have literally walked from my prenatal appointment to the hospital, because it was just right across the street. So like I was lucky that that was all incredibly close. I can't imagine leaving the hospital, driving an hour away, and then having to drive, an hour back to see them just for what feels like it is an incredibly unfair tiny amount of time. And the way other people are like telling you to do, it's a total mind fog when you
Yeah.
have a baby in the NICU because you're just like, this is my baby. Like, I literally survived having this child, and now I have to like be mindful of like how I touch them or when I can hold them. I remember laying in my bed so many times looking at my whiteboard and seeing touch times on
Mm.
it and just wanting to like throw a rock at that part of it because it was just like I just went through the most like how dare anybody tell me like what point of time I can go see and touch and be with my child, but it's an entirely different thing, they're there for their emergency situations too, and we can't be there every minute, and it's incredibly hard and definitely gets triggering down the line. As you have your babies grow or have other babies, which, I
Yeah.
ended up doing and, having that anxiety kind of, well, I was asymptomatic before, so when's the ball gonna drop this time kind of
Yep.
thing. Um, I remember my 36-week appointment with my second. Um, Going to the hospital or going to my appointment. I had a extra appointments with a maternal fetal medicine doctor. And so that one on my 36 week appointment with my second, like the exact same thing, ended up having to go to labor and delivery, after a
No.
couple of readings. Yeah. Luckily I was just there for a few hours for observation, didn't need to get admitted, but then made it an extra week with her. So I actually had her at term. So that was like a very different experience. No mag drip. I walked into the
Yeah.
operating room, which was weird. I was like, when they were like handing me my like IV drip bag and stuff, I was like, are we doing this right? Because the last time, like, I cruised while I was, all loopy. Like, this is crazy. Um, so yeah, just completely different, experience second time around. But then also, I think that's when, too, everything just kind of came to a head with, my like postpartum, issues. I don't know. I may have had like delayed ones from my first pregnancy, but I never really felt anything like I did after my second. And my father-in-law actually, after my first daughter was born, to this day is the only person that's ever specifically like looked at me and asked flat out about postpartum depression or anything like that.
Yeah.
We were all eating and she was like, I don't know, getting close to like 3 months by that point. We were finally feeling, okay to like get out and everything. And so we just had dinner with, some close family and yeah, asked me, like, "And how are you feeling?" And then specifically said the words, postpartum depression. And I think about that so often because I was okay, felt okay then, but I cannot imagine how life-changing that could have been had I been just, miserable inside and just suffering in silence and, having someone ask that direct question, like, are you okay? Like, are you really okay? Like, I just want to know, like, do you know about postpartum depression? Do you know how that can manifest and how that can make you feel? And, kind of asking those like really uncomfortable direct questions. I didn't need it at that point, but I can't imagine how incredibly life-saving that could have been had
Yeah.
I needed it, then. Um, so don't be afraid to ask the hard questions or like the hard
Yeah.
questions because it could truly mean a lot. And I still like, I get and teary-eyed, like thinking about it because, you know, postpartum is not talked about enough, like how it
No.
can make you feel or how things can manifest. You know, people just think like, oh, look at these beautiful hospital matching hospital gowns and, you know, the cute pictures and that sweet baby and things like that. And never really got those moments, would have loved them, but
Yeah.
sometimes the real, like, raw, honest, brutal ways that those things happen, and sometimes some unfortunate ugliness like postpartum depression, anxiety, and unfortunately postpartum rage as well was a part of like my situation. And that was, you know, that was definitely difficult to navigate through for sure.
Yeah, I definitely. So I want to give. So you said it was your father-in-law who said this to you?
Yes.
Yeah, that is so mad props to your father-in-law. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Every parent, friend, caregiver, whoever, like take notes because yeah, it is so okay to ask those hard questions because exactly like you said, like it could save a life.
Yeah,
Um, that's incredible.
yeah.
But I also I hate it when I say it this way. Like when I tell people I'm so excited to talk about and it's like depression or whatever. But like I'm I'm excited. I'm not let me try to pick a different word. I'm so glad that you brought up postpartum rage because it's while it's not technically, and when I say technically, I mean like doctor clinical whatever,
Mhm,
like it's not listed as one of the PMADs, but it is
mhm,
considered. It's considered I think it falls under postpartum depression. But
mhm.
postpartum rage is something that is only just now starting to barely be talked about, and it's so
Yeah,
common. It's so common. How
yeah.
did that manifest for you?
So for me, it was just it's really hard to explain because it just feels almost like an out of body experience. Like I know that's me that I'm talking about. I know I lived through those experiences. I know I did those things, but I just like I just can't believe it because it was something that I guess I did try for a while, just like I'm okay. I need just more of a breather, or I'll be a better mom tomorrow. And yes, I always was a better mom tomorrow, but that still stuck with me and some of those things still happen. And it was really, really difficult. And for someone who I feel like I'm generally always happy, making jokes, like, you know, I just do some dark humor, I'm very sarcastic to being that person, you know, that everybody's supposed to like, oh, she's just always like smiling and, you know, just so nice, to this like new darkness was really, really hard. And I just remember just feeling so, so down and just so dark because if I wasn't just wanting to just be in a dark room and be just done with the day and resting and not having to deal with anything, I felt like I was just ragey and just mad about everything. It was like small things that would just end up imploding or exploding into, you know, something else that it shouldn't have been. It was just like, I shouldn't have gotten so mad about that, or I shouldn't have just like snapped so easily. But it is just all these things. And, you know, and I was staying home with a newborn and a toddler and, you know, just kind of going through those everyday things, which are exhausting that people go through, but also hiding, I guess, a lot of
Mm,
the postpartum depression and anxiety that I was having. Like I would have, you know, like intrusive thoughts here and there too, like nothing where I was gonna harm myself or my baby or anything, but just those things where they're gonna get hurt. Like, and I
yeah.
could not just get it out of my mind. I couldn't just be like, okay, that's not gonna happen. You know, they're not just gonna all of a sudden climb out the crib,
Right.
unlock the top lock, and run down the hall, fall down the stairs. Like, none of that's gonna happen. But sometimes in those moments, I can't. I gotta get up and I gotta go check. Or it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, we were making dinner and, the kids are playing now. Is the knife too close to the counter? Was that left too close to the counter? Because sometimes he does that, or sometimes I do that because, it's a hustle and kids and everything. And then just 10 minutes later, just in bed, like, I gotta get up and check. I can't do it. I
Yep.
have to make sure that it's not on the edge and they're just gonna pull something off the counter and like slice an arm off or something. I
Yes.
I remember being like, um, yeah, just going to an appointment with, a little one in a car seat, me fresh off of having a C-section and thinking, oh, well, what if he trips going down the stairs, and then
Mm.
he's just gonna like, so I could probably just walk in front of them so that I can stop it if, if they do fall kind of thing. It's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
there's these things that you're just like, I don't normally think this way, but now I am. And I'm just like worried about all these things. And then it's just like the constant worry is just exhausting. And then it's just like, oh, a little thing like you're not going to sleep fast enough, or seriously, this dish is on the floor, or this dish is like dirty in the sink, or which is the worst, like, it's not even just postpartum depression rage thing, but like when you step on the a melted ice cube in the kitchen,
Oh,
like, caught and like
it's
it
the
just like snaps
worst.
on. It's like I'm gonna burn this house down. Like, why? Why can't you just find this piece of ice kind of thing? And it sounds so funny, but it could easily have been part of like a conversation that ended up just turning into this whole ragey thing. Cause it's just like you just all of a sudden in your head, it's just like, well, you don't care because you didn't try to pick up the ice and you just like let me do all these things and let me go ahead and clean up that ice too, kind of thing. It's just like, whoa, like
Yeah.
we definitely, need an incredibly bigger amount of help postpartum for sure. Like you were saying, the appointments were like crazy different both times
Yeah.
around. So I was pregnant in 2018 and then again in 2022. I was I had pregnancy Medicaid for them, thankfully, which was incredibly helpful. Like, which is another thing. It's just like having that care and then actually
Yes.
going to receive that care is just crucial. Once the baby was out, it felt like it was like pretty much just like, all right, have fun. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see how you get care now. In 2022, I feel like I did have coverage for a little bit longer, which was really great, but I really ended up needing the help and finally reaching out for it after that coverage ended. So that's also a hard thing too. It's like, I don't want to tell people that I'm super ragey and mad and just anxious and having these like thoughts all the time on top of, just being worried about what people are going to think or, also I'm not necessarily worried about what people are going to think, but like how am I going to get help for this too if I don't have
Yes.
like the insurance to cover this, and then feeling like, oh, well, almost like, oh, that's a burden to put like on my family to just, do these like extra expenses or anything like that. And not a great way to think, but, as moms, like a lot of times we talk ourselves out of things, especially that are important for us. And I did do that for far too long after my second pregnancy. But thankfully, finally reached out to Postpartum Support International and was able to get um, some therapy services coverage through them, which was life changing and so helpful. Um,
That's
got onto,
amazing.
yeah, antidepressants and just started feeling more like myself again, that, music loving, live music loving,
Yeah.
going out, enjoying life, pre-mom, but also intertwined with the mom that, I was missing that I was before all the, depression and anxiety and rage. I remember after I finally got settled with, taking my antidepressants, and, letting that be okay with my body. Like I have a hard time with like medication. So it took me about like 2.5 weeks of struggle of going through like, okay, you got to take these at like, the best time for you so it doesn't make you feel all groggy or sick or
Yeah.
anything like that. And then I finally had a moment where I was sitting with my girls on the floor and just truly enjoying watching them play and playing a little with them because like let's be honest that like gets old kind of fast, especially when they're
Yes.
always yelling at you that you're not doing it wrong, that you're not doing it right. Like how are
Uh,
you playing your fake game wrong? Okay. Like explain that to
oh
me.
my gosh. Oh, you are speaking my language right now. Yes. Yes.
But aside from that, it was really nice, and I just felt a sense of calm and enjoyment, like sitting there with them. I wasn't constantly like, there's so many dishes in the sink. I really got to do that, or the dog needs to be walked, or oh, I should probably get some laundry done. Like, and there's always gonna be stuff to do, but these are parts of those things that, need to get done too. We need to enjoy that time with our kids and they need to enjoy that time with us, undivided attention, kind of thing. And I was so incredibly happy to experience that. And that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is working and this is good. All the tough that I didn't want to go through or didn't want to, deal with, it eventually worked out. Like you do the tough stuff and it like works. Like ask the hard questions, do the hard things, and it really does benefit you in a good way. And for me in the best way, I feel like I still have to work at it, every day. Wanting to restart therapy again and definitely still taking antidepressants. Like for someone who doesn't really care to take medication
Yeah.
so much unless absolutely necessary, it was a little bit of a struggle, especially with how it made me feel in the beginning. But I can't imagine where or how bad I would be right now had I not thankfully had Postpartum Support International there to help me get through that, and my amazing therapist that I had, and of course our whole families have, been so supportive and just really like helpful of us, from for all of our kids. So we're
Yeah.
incredibly, incredibly lucky. And every day I feel so lucky to be able to say any little bit about my story or, my kid's story. Um, just, just to know, cause like we made it and not
Yes.
everyone gets to, and that's really hard, but we did it. I did.
You did.
I did the
You
hard
did.
things, and I'm still here, and I'm so, so thankful to be, um, and be here to like share all that with you and all of you guys. Like it's just do the hard things. Ask the hard questions, all that stuff. It'll all turn out and it'll be good.
Yeah, um I think what you did so beautifully through telling your story, like first of all, you you either have told this story a lot or you should just be a public speaker because oh my
Oh
goodness,
man.
you wove us through your experience so beautifully. And
Thank you.
the things that I definitely want to highlight and re-highlight are um that the things that you're advocating for seem so simple and yet they're not happening and they need to happen. So like better education about pregnancy and postpartum complications like preeclampsia or PMADs, and so like helping parents understand that that can be a reality. It doesn't have to be a reality, but it can be. Thinking about how you went through birth trauma and you went through a NICU stay and you had that support system around you and how important that is to be able to lean on those people. And I don't know how you knew about PSI, um but because not a lot of people do, and we're trying really really hard to change that, but the fact that you did realize something was wrong. You didn't like how you were feeling, but you empowered yourself and you advocated for yourself and you took steps. And for you to be able to say, like, I'm so proud that I did that because we're here today. We're here and I'm
Yeah.
doing the thing. And no, I
Yeah.
don't want to play Barbies with you and
Yeah.
say what you want me to say, but I'm glad that I'm able to do it. But
That's me.
um
Exactly.
right, like that resonates very deeply with me.
Aw.
So I guess because you did such an amazing job of bringing us full circle, I feel so thankful to be able to amplify your voice and your story and your mission. So, if you listen to the podcast, you will know that I always end on one of two questions and I wait until the end to decide which one. Um and I think this time I'm going to ask if you could go back in time, um maybe even before you met your partner and all of that, and you could sort of instill something within yourself to carry you through all of these crazy snowballs effects that ended up happening. what would you what would you instill within yourself?
Hmm. Um, that's a really good question. Um, I think just listening to myself, really hearing myself and that little inner thought that was just like, this isn't how you want this to go. This isn't
Yeah.
how we want it to be. This isn't how it has to be. And for not only your family, but for yourself, just do it. Just just do it. It's,
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least you'll know. And odds are it's going to work out and it's going to be some kind of an amazing help. And it truly was for me. So I'm very thankful that I can say that. But yeah, just listening to myself, just listening to that voice, like, we always, whatever, even if it's, I guess, before having kids, like that, just womanly
Yeah.
intuition, I guess, we just keep listening to it, and I'm gonna try to keep doing that because it has steered me in good directions, I think. So hopefully it will continue to. And maybe I won't get yelled at playing toys with my kids so much.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. That
It's all
still
my
happens to me.
own.
No, I think that's an amazing thing. I think trusting your intuition and learning to listen to yourself and trust your instincts is, hey, I'm still learning how to do that too. So,
Mhm.
um I want to thank you so, so much for spending time with me and for
Yeah,
sharing your
absolutely.
story. This will all be linked in your show notes, but if my listeners would like to follow along your journey, where is the best place for them to find you?
So that would definitely, I think, be Instagram. I am at This Is Life W Lisa on Instagram, and yeah, I would love a follow, love to connect with any other moms. It's such a weird community thing to be in sometimes because it's just so great the amount of people that I have connected with, but it's really hard because it's so unfortunate that we can all bond over, these hard things, but we're also bonding
Yeah.
over getting better too. So that's always
Yes.
a good thing, and bringing the awareness is really great. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much.
find
I'm so excited.
You are so welcome. So find Lisa on Instagram. And yes, it's a club that none of us wanted to join, but we're thankful for the connections. So thank you
Absolutely.
again.
Thank you. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for your honesty and resilience. They are a reminder of the strength it takes to advocate for yourself and your mental health, especially in the chaos of new motherhood. If Lisa's story resonated with you, we'd love for you to share this episode with someone who might need it. You can keep up with us on Quiet Connection by following us on Facebook, Instagram, Rednote, YouTube, and Threads at Quiet Connection Podcast. You can also find us on Blue Sky at Quiet Connection Pod. You can help our community grow by leaving us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and consider sharing our episodes on social media. Be sure to check out our Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee accounts to support our mission and get exclusive access to bonus episodes and other goodies. To share your personal journey, you can contact us through our website at quietconnectionpodcast.com or by email at quietconnectionppmh@gmail.com. Join us next time when another story is told and you realize you are not alone. I see you.